Now, whoop, we went off there for a second. Now it's there, and Maggie is walking around with it in her hands because I can feel
Yes.
her behind the picture.
Yes, Lordy, she's amazing, man. I'm looking like, oh, I don't know what to do. So hopefully this will be okay. If not, I'll just call in and we'll go around the challenge.
Well, there won't be a video, but there will be a audio.
Okay, good. At least we've got that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the inconvenience. It's one of those days, where it's like, all right, if they're going to be all electronic and funky, like, cool. Now, in addition, I find it fascinating. Bob, can you still hear me?
Oh yeah,
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and look at the patterns, the astrology, those planetary aspects seem to be consistent. To me, that's kind of interesting because, I always question things. I do this all day long, but I'm always skeptical and questioning, so I'm not one of them. But in this capacity, thank you very much, Maggie. In this capacity, notice every year or whenever it is, there's a cycle that keeps happening. I find it interesting that there's a lot to astrology, numerology, tarot, all of those things. They're tools and modalities, but they get you the information. That to me is powerful. But with this, notice it seems to be a similar pattern. Go, well, every time this happens, you get technology challenged and all those things. But that's a perpetuated pattern. In that way, I also found out that with other aspects about the personalities, like if you're a Cancer or a Leo or whatever the case is, that kind of a connection. Ah, great, I can see you. That's perfect. I've got you actually in two screens. Not me, but you.
you poor
So,
thing.
but I find, you're handsome. But I find it interesting that there's that cyclical aspect that it happens all the time. And yet it has a similar circumstance that's attached to it. To me, these are planets that are, floating in space and moving in their own way. Yet a constant pattern is creating that kind of circumstance, whatever it is. But I've also been, my whole life I've been doing this, and everyone, Bob, I always say everyone's a psychic medium. You got a soul, you're a psychic medium. We've all had that gut feeling.
Right.
Yeah, that's the point. And notice how a lot of times they put those two words together. Hey, psychic medium. You know why? Because they're both the same.
Both the same thing.
Yeah, just a psychic read is in the physical body, mediumship read is out of the physical body. Both are soul prints of consciousness. Just one has a body, the other one doesn't. Now, that also brings up an aspect of what I've been doing, my whole life kind of thing, but also what a lot of other people are able to do, which is doing the mediumship to be able to connect with little babies who did not necessarily physically make it here full term and all that graduate, and animals. They're able to come through to me in mediumship, and they're able to communicate like adults in English. And I asked Chi, I'm like, Chi, how is that possible for these beautiful little babies who didn't necessarily make it to full term and didn't get all the patterns, the vibrations on the ear knobs that we train the cells to hear the patterns and apply a meaning?
Right.
And
Right.
not only that, the beautiful animals that we have that aren't necessarily vibing with the language, they get the patterns of it, but they're not able to speak on their own here. And so I asked Chi, because for me, okay, I've always questioned that, but I've also used to hear all the time, if you're a little baby and you graduate life, on the other side, you're brought back to health and nursed and that kind of thing. And I am sure that that's there as well, ladies and gentlemen. In addition to that, what Chi let me know made even more sense in a way to go, okay, that makes more sense. And what he said was, well, Jamie, it's kind of like this. Before you come into this planet, this life experience, you're like the adult soul. You're the oversoul. And you're going to look at this place and go, you know what? That looks like a fun place to enjoy. And how they do it on that planet is you need a vehicle to get around, whether a human, animal, or an insect. It is only a vehicle to house the soul. Some people perceive that animals don't have souls. And they really, really. And so, what he also said was,
over in Brooklyn. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, guys. I swear.
oh, sure, I'm the adore
Love
you.
pizza.
You.
Yeah.
But within that, it made sense because he said for animals and little children, because it's just a vehicle to house the eternal soul. We are all old souls. The only difference for me when they're referred to as an old soul is somebody who's been on this planet a lot of times. We're all old souls. You know how old I am? One. That's the point.
Mhm.
Ding ding.
Yep.
And so being able to have that adult soul, the oversoul, because you do not lose that. Now, I was just talking about the oversoul and the aspects of the spirit, because, I used to think that they were same and identical, just a different term. But as I was talking with Mag, I now understand, and that makes some sense, is the eternal soul, the oversoul, is always eternal. It's the culmination of the endless experiences that we've always had and will continue to have. However, that spirit energy is what you vibe with when you come into this planet for this particular life, like Bob or Jamie. And then when you graduate, you come back into your adult soul. And again, that made sense for me because in doing that connection, we're all interconnected. All of us and everything is interconnected. And I'm kind of jumping around, but in addition, he also said, Chi, that as a little baby or an animal, you come back into your adult soul and you're able to connect and communicate perfectly. Now, in addition, because that made sense, otherwise, to me, if you're an adult soul before you come in, when you graduate, why do you have to take one for the team? You got to go out and you can't function on your own. And you can't, to me, that doesn't quite make sense.
No.
However, the other information was like, okay, because we are eternal beings. And that kind of a connection is huge. Plus, because I'm going to keep going, I'm like amped out of my mind, man. I'm in between appointments. But that ties into some of the scientific studies that I've been doing and the technology of what I've been helping to work on and attain at the University of Arizona. Scientifically, we have now proven scientifically that there's life after life. Now, in addition, next February 2020 is going to be the first bringing out to human awareness of the soul phone. This one will be, yeah.
I did see an inference to that on TV, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really? I'm like, wow, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Saw that the other day, and I turned around to our assistant here, and I said, "Hey, I know about that. I know somebody who knows." You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, really, I mean, it's like, ding, hey, what's happening? I mean,
It is.
weird.
It's going to be a step stage at a time. There's going to be 4 stages: the switch, the keyboard, the audio, the visual. As we do that, because again, it's scientifically validated that there's
Right,
life
right.
after life. So we're bringing a team together, and I was talking to Mark Pitstick, and he's one of the main people that is part of the Soul Phone, as well as Gary Schwartz and Rhonda Schwartz. But within that kind of a connection, once it's out in public consciousness, all of these beautiful, phenomenal religions are gone. Now, what they're doing is they're putting some people, a team together to offer to bring all of the heads of all of the religions around the planet and make a connection that we can do this together if we're able to in some way, if they even want to. Because once that happens, and it's the ability to go, nope, with these beautiful religions, we have scientifically proven now what they've been saying for all of these years, which is there's life after life. However, on everything else, it's going to be a whole different story. And that is going to change human consciousness. And I am so honored to be a part of this team that literally we're helping to change the consciousness of this planet. And all I
You
have to
know,
do
you
is
know
be
what
me.
that's like? Do you know what that's like? That's like being one of the team that was maybe the team to put together the first Hydra collider,
Yep.
or one of the guys who split the atom,
See,
or one of the guys that found the god atom.
now that brings up the
That it's that immense.
yeah. Huh.
You're going to screw up the consciousness of it, the whole planet.
And realign the consciousness.
Yeah, but
Yes.
I'm just saying though. I mean, that's wow.
Yeah.
Well, when you're not doing anything and I can look over your shoulder, no problem.
Hey, we're a team, Bob. I've always said that, man. I've always appreciated and respected you. You're a great man and you have a lot to offer. So anything that I'm doing, I'm going to bring you along in any way if you're interested. Just
Oh God, are you
let's
kidding? I
do
mean,
this.
that kind of, oh boy.
Yeah. But
I you got to understand though too. Anybody that's been through an NDE,
mhm,
they'll be at head of the line. Been there, done that. You know what I mean? It's like we've been on that other side.
yes.
Now you can bridge that in a way that people can understand. If I were to explain something to someone, it's a great story. It's a beautiful story. I mean, I mean, I made a girl cry once doing
You
it, giving her the whole thing, and because she couldn't believe it. And I told her, I mean, I can describe things down to the grass,
right.
piece of grass. But that's only because I was there and I stepped on it, and that's the way it was. But to be able to make someone live it, you can tell a good story, right? But
Yep.
you can't. It's like, hey, that's a great looking pizza, but did you eat it?
Exactly. Secondhand validation is nice. Firsthand experience is solid.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, I've experienced it. And I'm right there with you, Bob, because, once you've had an NDE, I've not had an NDE. But in doing what I do, I am always in the universal oneness.
Mhm.
I'm the matrix walker, and we all are, but I just do it. But in that capacity, whether you've been acclimated through your own near life experience, or you just do this on a day to day basis, vibrational pattern that you're on a lot of those channels, it will give you a lot of comfort. And I'm right there with you because people, when they're listening to you, they're also feeling what is your vibe when you're talking about that? Does that scare the crap out of you? Did it make you, fearful and uncertain because you didn't understand? Or was it comforting? Was it loving? And so, they're matching. It's kind of like I always say, there's a fine line between doing the work that I do and the nut house. Don't kid yourself. There are some sane people.
I'm
There's
listening to you. I just wish I was in a bunch of in front of a bunch of people right now. We got to do this, man. I have to get a different laptop and take you over to the to the clubhouse and get
yes.
somebody from this community in there. This is the kind of thing in that where you could turn around to somebody and literally be able to tell them, hey, how would you like to know whether you're really not going to die? You're just going to keep on going.
Yes.
People will look at you and go, duh. Like, duh. What would happen? Let me put it to you. What would it be, or what would it be like if everybody knew or was 99 and 44th 100% convinced that they really weren't going to die
Yes.
and realize that these are vessels.
And that's a
This
big
is like
thing.
sitting. This is like sitting in a submarine, getting out of it and letting it sink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, next.
You'll
So
rise above
and
it.
that's exactly what it is. And the weird part about the whole thing is, scientifically, it's not really that hard. It isn't really that hard. I mean, just to believe it is hard. That's the hardest part of the whole thing. But the actual physical way is not the hard part. The hard part is the conscious part that, like, hey, it exists.
Right. Now, here's another thing. I'm me and I just have different oddball perspectives. But, I believe that there's a reference to reincarnation. And I
Mm,
believe that that's basically having your eternal soul, that oversoul, get into another physical body. Is that
right.
decent?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good. Well, with that definition, as humans, basically every 7 years, we have a completely whole new body, 100 trillion cells. Now, if we have a whole new body, because that's reincarnation, who is the constant thinker, the constant you that within all of those new bodies stays you? Your soul, Brenda, of
So
consciousness. Right. And so when I point that out, people are like, oh, wait a minute, I didn't disappear. I'm like, yeah, exactly. You don't. Everything is right here, right now. This is a holographic universe. And again, through those scientific studies, I learned a lot of stuff. That spirituality and quantum physics is now spiritual physics, unification, not separation. And learning so much about the neural soul ways and Jesus, the Christ. And do you really think that there's only one when more than one person calls on him at the same time? I'm willing
no,
to bet out of 8 billion people, there's more than two. Right. He's not going, got a gunshot, gotta go. Yeah, right. He can be everywhere at once with just like we're doing now, with complete conscious recognition of each reality as we perceive it to be. No disoriented, completely focused. And so within it, during these scientific studies, like you were saying, Bob, is what about other lifetimes? Exactly. What about Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and a variety of other people that helped us prove this? My
right.
thing is, well, we're the eternal souls, but that spirit energy of this case in
Uh,
Nikola Tesla or Albert Einstein is for this life experience. But what about all of the other lifetime experiences? What about all of the other knowledge of either technology or integration or realization or whatever those are? Oh, yeah. And I'll guarantee you, this is not the only planet we lived on, nor is it the only
mm,
dimension.
I could
And
also
now,
throw into that. Do you think now this is now I'm throwing it way out there, man. I'm going for the
good.
middle of the lake.
Hail Mary, baby. Hail Mary.
Hail Mary. Would you believe, or could you believe, that possibly through this process and or the activation of that process, we could somehow actually literally know where we were before?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you got to remember now, each one of these lifetimes, okay, we have an automatic off switch. Before we get here, we know everything. We know where we were, who we were, who's this, that, and the other thing, and that, how many thousands of dogs, animals,
Yeah.
dogs, sheep, whatever I had before. But when you get here, you're born dumb. The thing that's smart is the soul. The soul knows,
It
but you
holds
don't.
everything. Yes.
I'm saying you don't. The soul does. Is this going to open that door?
Yes. Because they will realize we're not a bunch of brains walking around. People say it's your brain that gives you life. No, it's your soul essence that animates this physical body. That's why when that soul essence leaves the body, the physical body goes bang. It goes back into its natural state of existence, energy. That's the point. And so, yeah, I do. I feel like I don't think anything, but I feel everything. And it will. It will change that connection. But also, what about the unification? Because once you start to get a little gleam, like a little eyesight and validation, go, holy cow, there's been so many more lifetimes that I've lived that I forgot about. Which, what if that kind of ties into sometimes when people are born with such an amazing gift of playing the piano or being an artist or whatever it is, they
They
didn't do it right. They didn't
Here's
do it this lifetime.
a
They're
4-year-old kid playing, I think it was Bach or Liszt, one of those two things.
mhm.
Piano. Never had a lesson at all. Ever. This
Isn't
kid
it
just got up and did it. I mean,
right?
that was like, I mean, let's face it. Come on, man. It was like, I mean, I might have started playing instruments and things like that when I was like 6 or 7, but I mean, I had a mother that was a musician. So, it was like you had a mother that was a psychic.
Yep.
It's easier at that age
You
to be
grow into it.
nursed
Yes.
along. This is a kid that gets up on a stand and goes bing, 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 bing. It's like, whoa.
And
That
what
was
if
like, whoa.
potentially on some of those, like he was doing either, Bach, Chopin, Beethoven, whoever it was, that what if that was part of his life experience? What if he was that spirit of Chopin or Bach or any of those? And
Well,
it's just a soul recollection to go, oh, that's right. I've done this because he's never been trained yet. He's hitting all those keys, dancing with the music. That's powerful. And then people have no choice but to go, well, I don't understand. He's not been taking any lessons, but he knows all the keys. He plays as beautifully as Bach, Beethoven, Etude, and E minor. Hey, that's weird. Yeah, isn't it? out of the ordinary enough to go, are we going to question that stuff? Hopefully you will.
One of those things that could have actually been, and we know this right now. Our soul is not just one soul; it can be anywhere at any time.
And
It can be on that planet, and this planet all at the same time.
because it is,
Right. That's
tell
that's
you,
what energy does. So what if a little piece of that energy kind of hung up in that kid?
yeah, huh?
That kid caught it on the way through.
Yeah, or exactly. That was his soul essence. All
Yeah.
of those
That's
experiences just came to the
right.
surface.
Essence, but not the soul, just the essence.
Perfect. Beautiful.
That is so strange. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
It's that kind of an effectiveness that we as humans, only in this planet, so we're called humans and all that good stuff.
Mm.
But I also learned that there are a myriad of other yous in other dimensions and in another world kind of thing to a certain extent. Plus, there are other physical bodies that you're in, not just this human one.
Mm.
What if the ability to have all of these life experiences in different dimensions is adding the fullness to your soul that you don't have to keep coming back to this planet to get, oh, I now know what it's like to be dead. Oh, really? So you have to keep doing it? Or you have to come and get shot and realize, oh, that's not a good thing.
Oh yeah.
And on all the other worlds, you're learning that lesson in that life, that lesson in that life, all of these things. And you're unifying the fullness of your soul each and every moment with each and every experience as you're already unified with yourself, which is the universe. And the
Mm.
universe is you. Man, Bob, every time I have my spiritual unification with the oneness, God, he, she, nothing, zero point field, whatever you want to call it, I am one with everything. There
That's
is
right. That's right.
no separation in any way at all. And it's that kind of an experience that I've learned and seen that almost everyone who has that universal connection becomes one says the same thing. Now, the psychic aspect of picking up information is different because each psychic is perceiving it in their own way through their own tools, techniques, awareness, that kind of thing.
Mm.
So there's a difference between the spiritual energy of this physical life and the unification of your oversoul or the eternal beingness that you are.
When you're doing when you're using the soul phone and things, Ned, could you actually call back to someone who had passed?
Yes, that's the point. But it's a step stage process. And that is exactly the case because that's what I'm saying is, and I was talking to Mark, is let's get Nicola, let's get these people and let's make this connection to see if they can pull through information of other lifetimes that they've lived. Bobby, you there?
No, no, you're fine. You're
Ah,
fine. It's
there you
it
go.
it's been the same thing on that computer. It's an
Yeah.
into it's something in the Wi-Fi.
Okay, yeah, because I clicked it and I made sure the airplane mode is off and all that kind of stuff. So I'll have to double check it. But thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for being patient with me. And Bob's always great. So, you
Let's
know,
go. Let's go back. Let's go back. Don't apologize. Look, it happens what it happens, and that's it. But we will. We could say I'm sorry, or you want to in it. But how many people out there want to get rid of their cable? I mean, it's
yeah,
hey,
yeah, huh?
one of
All of
those
us.
things. Hey, I literally had. You want to talk about souls, right? People found out that I know something. Okay, I know something. I know a little bit about technology. So we got a bunch of my partner here got a bunch of messages through from other people in that. Oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. This thing here is that too much for this, too much for that. This cable does this. This thing here fails. Blah blah blah. So I wrote them a nice. I mean, nice letter. Okay. I even put in little links that they get money off. Like somebody referred you, so you get money off and things like that.
Beautiful.
I don't think anybody did anything on it yet. Dude, I mean, I did the math and everything else for them, and that they were saving like I don't know, maybe a few $1,000s a year. This
Right.
is what kind of money
That's
they were paying like, on a cable bill. Yeah. So you know, people only take in what their conscious brain will allocate space for,
right.
in a
And
sense.
anything that they can understand, they're having to understand in their own frame of reference, their own thought pattern, their own life experience.
Hence the newspapers that we listen to and read every day.
Yep.
So many people that are affected by things like this to the point that it's mentally affecting people. all over the country.
And all
Now,
over the world.
well, that's only because they're looking at us laughing their brains off, but that's another story. And believe me, I was just on a I don't know $9,000 phone call, over to Africa,
Yeah,
and
wow.
one of the big guys over there, and I turned around, he says, "You guys are so funny." I was like, okay.
Was there a
I said,
reason? Or that's
yeah,
it.
really. I mean, we're a panic, I'm telling you. But on the other hand, with a thing like the phone, what I really really hope something happens that the consciousness is shaken to the point where people start thinking about themselves more than they think about the world.
Yep. And
I'm not saying that thinking about the world then is a bad thing, but in respect to you, you got to think about that part of the world,
yeah.
your world, what's around with you. It's like a plasma. You are plasma within plasma. So what do? You take care of the plasma that you're in right now, where you are, what you do, who you know, what you touch. All these things are they're parts, integers of the rest.
And you begin to find yourself within life and the life within you. And that's that connection. Not everyone is comfortable with that inner space astronaut, realizing who you really are, which
Mhm.
is everything, the universal oneness. And it becomes the law of equivalence. Whatever they're comfortable with, they'll accept, which is perfect. If you can give them information to, maybe hear or feel or see or whatever the case is, now they got a connection to information. Doesn't mean they have to accept it, but at least it's been shared. Now, for that connection, the aspect of pure energy state and, eternal beings and all that good stuff is there. But what about being able to connect with future yous or
Ah,
past yous? Because all of it is existing right now, right here. And it's that kind of a connection that, I kind of do what I do, so I might be aware of something.
so you could actually connect dots.
Yes, the soul. That,
Yeah, I mean that's wow,
yeah, isn't it? But that's the
wow.
I've got that insatiable hunger. But this hunger, what I want to do, because I know that the more I know, the more I know. I don't know nothing, man, but I'll share my perspective. And I'll always remain humble because everyone has the ability, everyone is the universe, and the universe is them. It's kind of like the ocean is the droplet is the whole ocean. If that's too uncomfortable for you to accept, okay, stay a little droplet because you never do. Take one bunch of droplets in a glass and one drop of iodine and drop it in. It merges.
I thought that thing was don't call somebody a drip because
Yeah,
the water is beautiful, so don't call me a drip.
yeah, that's cute. Well, at least you're
Yeah.
dripping, man. You got some energy moving. That's
No,
something.
seriously. I mean that was a rhyme from like first grade. But seriously speaking, I mean, you want to talk about the drip. I mean, I can even go a little further into that. I mean, we are just our whole civilization is like a drop in the middle of the ocean.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly what we are. And even though the ocean is a big thing, it contains just as many drips as it takes to make an ocean.
And
How many people can we connect to that are in the ocean?
and can you realize that you don't necessarily have to connect with each individual,
Right,
connect with the entire ocean, and you will have that ocean connect with them.
right.
That's their. I'm lazy. That's too much work doing each part. Man, here, let's
Yeah. I mean,
that
it's
kind of
it's it goes into the quantum physics,
yes.
and which is like that's my party ground right there. It is. I mean, I was crazy for science when I was a kid. I mean, I was always really really good at it. I was bad at math, but scientific math, oh, easy.
God.
When it came to algebra, I failed it 3 times. I
Well,
did.
hey, you got the talent though. I'm like, 1 + 1 is 2. There we go. I got it.
Yeah, serious. I mean, it was like
Easy.
unbelievable. But now then again, though, let's take the consciousness of the people we're hanging around right now. Give a guy a building that the other day and he couldn't count back to what's the change.
Right?
So where are we going? The minds are going to. They're almost becoming AI. They're going
Yeah.
technical that they can't control it.
Well, it's always growing. Wait a minute, that sounds like the soul. It's always growing and building upon itself. Right, it will integrate and realize even more beyond what the
Right.
circumstances are. And I will, time travel is very real. If I do what I do, and I'm psychic, right? Because I'm saying things before it happens, that's psychic. I will tell you when I'm doing that, and I'm usually very accurate for people. My point is, see, I'm accurate, so good. Now I'm going to let you know that that's a future you, or I wouldn't be getting the information, is the
Hmm.
point. And so, if I can do what I do and be accurate and all that kind of stuff, maybe, just maybe there's something to what I'm saying. But I want to give people anything that I'm aware of. I want to help humanity. I don't do the competition. You'll always be pissed and frustrated. There's always somebody better, somebody worse. You know how I'm going to stand out? Just do me. And the uniqueness of our soul print of who we are and the passion that you have for whatever it is. For me, the spiritual stuff is my passion. It's not only what I do, but the essence of who I am. And people will feel that energy, that passion. Hey, Bob, with this, because you have all of the great insights and the tools and techniques, but if you're interested, I would love for you to create a future memory. How about with this, you have already had everyone donate so much you are in the plus of what you were asking for a donation. How about you've already been doing this with helping so many more people that word of mouth has traveled? Not only that, you're now having to hire somebody to help you, whether it's D or whoever it is, you're already there. And like I was always saying, you already know, but it's not just about seeing it. Yeah, okay, I see the future. No, you
Right.
got to
Right.
feel how it feels to have that reality. Then that vibration is
Mm.
what's coming out to the universe, which will give you a vibrational match back. That's when it becomes even more powerful and real.
We had the show a couple of weeks ago with Dr. Nazara.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I like him.
Him and I are on the same path in a way, and
Sure.
that his the things that he's concerned with and the things that he wants to do things with. I've been trying to help him the best I can, to like get him going in what
Right.
he's doing. He's a man. I created a monster. Did. I really, really did. I mean, he is so good. He is becoming, how would you say, an expert in what he does. I mean, this is a guy, a blind man who had two life changing accidents to get to where he is. I mean,
Yes.
the gun bullet in the head and the piece of wood through the eye and the whole thing. He really should be, by all accounts, dead.
And yet,
He's not. The soul said, heck, I ain't dying.
yep.
And he didn't. And that's the way it was. And what came out of this, and he don't even realize it because I'm the listener. I mean, I mean, I'd have to send you one of his notes to me,
Cool.
which goes on for a long time in it, but
He's a
it is
very good communicator.
it is so intense. It's mind-boggling. I mean, I read these things and I went like, whoa, And I mean, what we're doing, we started a project too, or I started a project, and it's just to bring people down to earth. That's what the whole thing is. It's the American Party. We talked about this a little bit, or you knew about it.
Yes,
The
sir.
American Party is something. It's not a political party. I'm not going to go out and forget about it. I'm not standing on no soapbox anywhere and not to tell anybody anything and look like an idiot like half of the ones that are in Washington. I am. I am. I want people to come in to each one of the shows and speak. Tell me what you're thinking of. What's on your mind? What could be done for you? What do you need? What is missing in your life? Where can we help you? I
Yeah.
mean, if they get to that part, I have. By the way, I got paper. God, I got paperwork around here. My God, any day now, somebody's going to come in here and sweep me right out the door.
Uh-huh.
Some of the things, and you'll understand this, but some of the things that we're doing because this is a beneficial party, really. It'll add things like, uh, well, the three things that you don't hear about in Washington, which is understanding, forgiveness, and love. When was the last time you heard one of those words?
What?
Never,
Huh?
never, 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 never. Exactly. What we want to do is we want to start help. in a lot of different areas. Not help. I'm not going to go out and like pick somebody off the ground or anything. I don't have to know whether you fell down first. But the idea is to be able to get people to talk enough to bring consciousness to the level that things will start getting done without us lifting a finger.
Right. You just lift your
Consciousness
awareness.
will do it for, all right, we will will it to be done. And it can be done. What's this? Consciousness is that strong.
Yep.
I mean, you can stop things if enough people, say it's got to stop. But working on things like the unborn, like you're talking about,
Hmm.
the unborn, I mean by like the abortions and all the rest of this kind of stuff, and that these guys, I don't know where they get their get off at even talking about the subject. Just take care of it, and then that's it. Period.
Hmm.
You know, all the religions are the ones that usually get their self in the way, and then everything gets screwed up. But people themselves talk. I mean, you got to hear the way people talk.
See, and that's a big thing. Not only to be able to talk, but to be heard. Anyone can talk. Who can
We're giving them the
communicate?
platform.
Yes.
We're giving them the platform, and it's also homeless all over the place. When did you ever hear anything done for people that were homeless?
Finally, yes. Yes. They are building little houses like the little house kind of show, and
Mm.
they are building those for the homeless, giving
When
them an
was
opportunity
the
to
last,
have.
but when was the last time you heard something like that?
I haven't. Not really. Not in
There's
that
nothing. There's
past.
nothing here. California's underwater in people.
Okay. Yep.
So I mean, more and more and more of that has to be done. But how do you do it? You get a lot of people, not one area, not one locale or anything else. You get a lot of people into it, and they also have things like the vets. Vets are they get the raw end more times than not, and it's only
That's
because of simple things like political things that go on. Can't do this because. Well, he's a Democrat, he's a Republican. Erase all that baloney, and we're all humans. That's where you
yep.
leave it, and then step forward and get it done. Easy, huh?
Yeah. Well, it is lining up that way, and sometimes it takes a while, but you end up getting to that point of consciousness. And sometimes you got to go through the growing pains, and it's not always easy, and there can be a lot of frustration, but it becomes the power in numbers. I will also tell you, I do a little remote viewing, which is just taking your mind sight with target numbers and all that kind of stuff. But I will also share that what I've targeted in a few ways is that down the road, this will become a one world government. It will be unified as a planet of human consciousness, not each state and each country and everyone's against each other. And AI will be prevalent of running most everything technologically.
Hmm.
Yeah, you sound like a nut job conspiracy, huh? Watch it. When it
No,
happens,
no, no, no.
you know.
That's we knew that. We knew that as soon as they made started making AIs that understand.
Yeah. And you know what? They've had that around a long time.
Well, yeah, but not to the degree they have now.
Well, that's the point. They're presenting it now. They've had
Yeah.
that technology a long
Oh,
time.
oh yeah. But the other thing in that when you're talking about things like that, my dream that I've had for many years, maybe well, it was after the NDE, is a 13 member council.
Okay.
Hire people from different areas on the planet to create 13 people and
Now,
have 13.
13, because of the crystal skulls or what?
That's where it actually began, is with the skulls.
That's
And
why.
information that I was getting from them, and we were hearing from them. And don't forget, we did 30 some odd skulls on this show.
Oh, yep, yep.
So
Remember
we
Mitchell
we did.
Hedges' crystal skull? Woo! That
Uh
that is what ignited my chakras to all
huh. Yeah, you were in shock.
turn. Yeah, man, that was freaking. I was freaking out in the beginning. Go, what happened? Where'd the colors go? And
Mm.
then she was like, "Well, Jenny, you now are connecting with the full spectrum of all the colors and energy. beyond it. So each and every chakra that's a filtration system is functioning at full capacity as we perceive it, the unification of all these colors and all that good stuff, to get each piece of information, no matter what chakra you put it through. And that made sense. But that didn't happen until after I touched that Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. We were there all day talking to Bill Holman, who's a really nice guy. And we were up in Sedona and in the creeks and stuff, and he let me touch it. Man, that was huge. As soon as I did, all my chakras went white, and I started connecting with her. She likes to be referred to as, for me, as love.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, well, so it's that kind of a connection that also, I could go even further, but that energy was placed within my big head, my physical head. The spiritual essence of that skull was dropped into my head. I saw the hands letting it into I'm like, holy crap, what the, huh? And then now, over the years, in my energy field, that's it, I have Mitchell Hedges, love, in my big head, and then around me in my energy field are the other 12 crystal skulls.
Yep.
Creating the unification of the 13 crystal skulls through that one energy of unification.
Yeah, the 13 council would be 13 spiritual people.
Perfect. And taking the whole planet into consideration.
Well, we're taking if you're going to have the one government, the 13 are the council.
Yep, exactly. For the whole world.
Right. You can't go wrong. You can't. Because if something does come up for a vote, somebody is going to be number 13. Mm-hmm. You can't go half and half. There is no 50-50.
What if there's a potential that AI becomes so effective that it goes beyond the human limitations of emotion and anger and happiness and frustration? What if, because it's neutral completely, it acts upon the information, not necessarily the emotional connection, the information of what needs to be facilitated or orchestrated? Just as a potential.
Let me tell you something that from an AI book that I read.
Okay.
An AI can do something that humans can't. If we are depressed, we are depressed. If we are mad, we are mad. Does it go away? No. Tomorrow morning it'll probably still be there because you'll remember that you were mad.
Yep.
And an AI can delete feelings.
Yeah, there is none.
Turn it off. No, the newer ones do have feelings. They do. I mean, it's not the feelings that we have. Well, it's based on information.
Yes, sir.
But they can turn these things off, which will restructure a lot of decisions made based on no emotions as per the ones based on emotions.
Exactly.
And money is another big part of this. They won't want money.
Yep. And that's because
they want to be boss, yes, but they don't want the money.
But that's the connection, is there's no emotional aspect. And, just like you're saying, hey, if you're a little upset or frustrated, right, go ahead and make decisions from that frustrated mental thought pattern.
Right.
You'll be in that frequency of challenging. And so, yeah. And so, I'm willing to bet, because they are, but they might be potentially having a couple of testings where they will have circumstances that humans make decisions on to see where it goes, and then AI will make decisions on to see where it goes. You really don't think they're doing it? They are.
Did you see, this is funny though, because I'll give you a chuckle out of this one. Another thing that I read, that I do a lot of reading. I'm crazy. That's why I'm up so early. But I don't want no noise. I don't want anybody around me or anything when I'm reading. There was a thing that I read about new things that are out. Did you ever see the show Stepford Wives?
No. I heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Get on YouTube and look up Stepford Wives.
What kind of show is it?
First of all, it's a movie.
Okay.
Short, I guess it's a short movie or whatever. It was one of these weird, things out a long time ago. It reminds me a lot of Twilight Zone, but it's not Twilight Zone. It's an actual movie based on, a storyline.
Yes, sir.
their human wives were disappeared somehow, and an exact duplicate AI wife would come into a household
Ooh,
and run,
interesting.
and run effectively and efficiently and economically run a house with the
Yeah.
husband and everything else, the whole 9 yards. Now, the other day, and a guy showed me a thing that he had. Now you can buy one for $50,000.
Yeah. And is this female?
Yeah, well, the females are in the show. The males are they live for
Yeah.
long.
Isn't it
So,
interesting? Look at how much they go for the feminine vibration because it's not too dominating, is
mm,
the point. Just something like that. So within that, when you can soften the presentation and keep that a lighter vibration, people are a little bit more willing to accept that and to kind of hang out. And
mm.
it's interesting, but it's the slightest differences that do make a difference. I go to the gym and we have to punch in our code. And once you punched it in, a lady's voice says, and welcome and have a great lift. And then if you punch it in and miss one key, please rescan. It instantly goes, funny but true. It goes right for a male energy to go, oh, wait a minute. When we see or hear a male voice, that tends to be a little more dominating or, angry, whatever the case is. And I pointed that out to the gym people who work there at the gym. And they're like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh, I'm like, well, it's all about presentation. But kind of open their eyes to go, that is because I hear that all the time. Like, oh,
Sure.
okay. Yeah, but when you can just present information just lightly, it's sometimes that different perspective is like, oh, I haven't even thought about that like that. Oh, click. So, it's those kinds of things. If we can share any knowledge, I will share everything I have and I do. You don't have to listen, but it works for me.
Yeah,
Keep
but
our
this
power.
the soul phone.
Yeah,
When the
watch.
first time that you said that, I've been thinking about it ever since.
Good, because that's what's going to happen with other people. Now, I will also tell you they already have the technology where they can take, if you have pictures of your loved ones, where you have a front, a side view, and a back view. And then if you have maybe 30 seconds of their voice, so it becomes a voice recognition, they have the technology already that they can create a holographic image of your loved one with the vibrational voice pattern of communication. That's freaking huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
that's been around since Star Wars.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so much more. So it's those kinds of things. This technology has been there for quite a while, but they dole it out. That's why, hey, every 6 months or every 3 months, we've got new technology. Really, it's been sitting there for a long time. It's now the orchestration and the integration of that. Hey, look at this. It's going to cost you. Yeah. Like, oh. And
yeah,
so,
really.
on average, yeah. And
But
then they kind of, go ahead.
but on the other hand, and that you're going to go out and you're going to talk to people. You're going to go out and you're going to tell them about this. They're going to tell somebody about that. I mean, let's face it. This is not something that you can turn around and say, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't worry about it. You can rake your lawn tomorrow." This is something that like I'm going to change the world tomorrow. And they're going to go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But they're going to go out and they're going to say, "Hey, you know what that nut said?
And he
I don't
did
care
it.
if they call me a nut or not." It's like one of these things where like they went and told somebody else, and that told that one. I mean, let's face it, we got it going on in Washington right now. One guy tells the other, tells the other guy, tells the other guy, and he heard it around the water hole.
And that's what they count on because by that time, the story has changed.
Right, exactly. It's like playing telephone when you're in kindergarten.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, sir. It's all about presentation.
Yeah, right.
Robbie,
So,
always great. Hey, at another time, I want to talk about divine intervention. I want to talk about the circumstances of life experience, whether you have an accidental circumstance or an intentional circumstance where you graduate life, and how they come through to me all the time. And
oh,
a
that's
variety of other things. But there's so much to talk about in that way. Just what we're talking about now is like, oh, Lordy, we could go on for a long time. But if we can give them different perspectives, different pieces of information, maybe it starts to put all those pieces together to create the one big picture. What if we as humans are holographic? Wait a minute. I think we come from one
ooh, yeah.
cell, don't we? Come from one cell, and then it's 100 trillion times. Yeah, isn't it? And that's just in the human body. Do you really think that there may not be other essences of you in that if you got 100 trillion cells now, what about all of the infinite lifetimes and experiences? And
Let me throw a rock at that. How about in between one dimension and another dimension in the same place at the same time?
that's what I do as a matrix walker. Exactly.
Bingo.
Exactly. You got
Bingo. So you can go from one to the other and not move.
right, because you are
Right.
there.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Bob, I love your knowledge, man. You got a lot of insight, and I love the way that you share it. Nicely,
Mm,
playfully, but also, like I do, we only know for ourselves. That's it. But I'll share it.
well, my whole point is, and it's been ever since I started this. People must think. That's all they got to do. Think. They got to use the not only the I am, but the what if.
Yeah, and question it. Question everything.
What if? Question mark. And if
That
you do
potential.
that, right? If you do that and you get enough answers, you might make your own solution.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be somebody else's solution. It doesn't have to be somebody else's opinion or the way they critique something or whatever. It's yours. It's yours. Your whole thing. Your story. Your solution.
Yeah, your perspective.
Uh huh.
Exactly.
Uh huh.
Many worlds as there are perceivers. Nobody sees it the same yet, each just as real and just as valid. So we co create with that unification of consciousness. That's why I'm loving being a part of the scientific team, man. Literally, I am having an opportunity to change human consciousness. This planet, I might be doing a little bit more on other planets too, other, constellations, other, whatever that is.
Maybe. Maybe. But I would say probably.
Fun, man.
If everybody wants to get in touch with you, where do they call?
Yeah, call me at 623 and you'll be able to talk with Maggie, who is a saint. God, if she's going to put up with me, she's got to be. But she will take great care of you. I am honored to be of service.
Oh,
And you
no.
can also, yeah, you can also connect with me at insight@jamieclark.net and check out my website at jamieclark.net. Awesome. Bobby, brother man, always good to talk with you. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in.
Good stuff. Unbelievable. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, that was Jamie Clark. And he will be back. And when he does come back, and Ned, forget about it. He's going to tell you more things, Ned, that are going to blow your mind. Why? Because they're true. Why? Because they are you. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.